Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another episode of the strategy series. Today we're talking about how to counter Android 18 mil. I figured it was worth talking about considering it just won the most recent online webcam event. Even though it's probably a bit more rogue, I think it's still worth talking about because, off of a big W like this, it's very possible that will catch a little bit more popularity. Now, some of you guys might be asking yourselves, why isn't Joey talking about how to counter King Piccolo? I actually do have a strategy series countering video for King Piccolo. It's from last year when King Piccolo was meta back then, but I went back and rewatched it, and a lot of the points still hold true, so I'm going to link that down in the description. But of course, if you guys want to see an updated countering guide for King Piccolo, I think there are maybe a few minor things that could change, but I think a lot of the points still hold true. But let me know in the comments below, maybe I'll update that video. Anyways, today again we're talking about Android 18. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss a video. And if you guys want to help support the channel, there are many ways to do so down in the description. But today, if you want to buy or pre-order any of the cards we talk about in today's video, or any trading card game cards for that matter, use my link in the description to TCG Player. Really does help out a lot, guys. Anyways, let's get started. All right, it's been a while since we've done one of these, so basically what we always do first is talk about what the strategy that we're aiming to counter actually does. So Android 18 is basically a combo deck, and we're using the leader's ability to, one, gain passive advantage. You don't ever have to attack your opponent until you get to the Awaken side, and the field card also starts letting your opponent gain clone tokens. There's also another card that we'll see later that loads your opponent up with more clone tokens, and then by those effects, your opponent's clone tokens actually can't attack. So normally with like old Android 18 and old Android 21 stuff, you could actually use the clone tokens as like a form of aggression because they're 10k battle cards, but the newer support that this deck plays doesn't allow your clone tokens to actually attack. So that's what the leader serves the role of. And then we have the actual combo. So basically what you're doing is you're playing some sort of free battle card to bypass your own field card's quote-unquote summoning sickness, because once per turn, the first battle card played cannot attack thanks to Android 21 scheme. So that could be an Overwhelm, that could be many of the free play blockers that you're able to play in the Android scheme type of archetype. And then you're going for a 4 energy Rebirth of Justice because you typically do play a mono blue deck. And then you're going into full power Frieza 100% overdrive, which is going to attack. It's going to minus all your opponent's battle cards, including the clone tokens that you've been giving them over the past several turns. And then your opponent's going to mill 2 cards for each battle card that is decreased this way. So by the time you drop this, your opponent will have like somewhere in the realm of 15 plus clone tokens. So they're going to mill pretty much their entire deck on the turn you pull off the combo. But not only do you have to worry about this combo, you have to worry about the things that they're doing to stop you from killing them before getting to the combo, right? So the two main offenders here are Oceania Shenron, Negative Energy Explosion, and Android 18, Let the Battle Begin. Android 18 is actually a super insane card. 1 energy, stop the play of anything 4 or less. It's also a 15k blocker. Then you can follow that up with Godsling Technique Trunks. It's very important they do that in that order because Godsling locks them out of counterplays for the rest of the turn. So they're going to be able to, or they're going to want to look to use their 18s as often as possible before they're forced to use Godsealing. And then Oceanus, just Oceanus, a lot of blue mid-range and control decks are running it. And they're also trying to back up their combo with Baby Golden Avenger, featuring the Baby Parasitic Unison, which we'll see in a second. The -5 on that allows them to use this for free. So by pitching 2, they can counter with Baby Golden Avenger, stopping whatever interaction you have for their combo, right? Now, we'll get into the next slide here, and there are 2 specific points I want to talk about with each of these cards. But before that, just classifying Android 18, like I said, it's a combo deck, right? So normally when we talk about playstyle, we're talking about aggro, mid-range, or control. Combo is like a little bit different because we don't always see combo style decks in Dragon Ball, and combo doesn't necessarily fall into that playstyle triangle that I just mentioned. So what does Android 18 actually struggle with? Well, I would say you want to be as aggressive with them as possible. If you're playing a deck that can go aggro, you want to try to kill them before they get to their combo turn, which is what I tried to do in my finals match against Android 18 in the regional on Sunday. Besides that, if you have interaction for their combo, that's going to put you in a really, really good position. But again, they're going to have Golden Avenger to try and counter whatever interaction you have for their combo, right? That's where it's important to realize how Baby the Unknown Parasite works. Basically, what you want to do if you're not playing a super aggro deck that can kill before the combo goes off, you want to make sure that Baby Unknown Parasite is limited at 3 markers. it's a lot more risky to leave it at 4 markers because they could always just tuck an extra copy of the Unison under their Unison and then -5 that way, right? So the safest bet is always going to be keeping Baby at 3 markers if you can afford to do so. Then we have Android 16 for his mother. This is one of the cards that gives your opponent more clone tokens as well as prevents your opponent from attacking with clone tokens. Now here's just one thing. Don't ever remove this card from the field, right? I had to learn that the hard way because I'll be honest, this is not a matchup that I've really tested against much. I used to play against it at locals probably like a year or 2 ago and haven't really played against it since. So I learned this the hard way. Don't ever remove this card from the board because they can never combo with it. There's no reason to really remove it. The only thing there is that if you do remove it, they have a free play battle card to get around their own summoning sickness, right? So you're basically giving them one of the 3 cards they need to pull off their combo. Just don't get rid of it, right? So those are the 2 important things with this, as well as the play style adjustments you're going to want to make depending on what type of deck you're playing. But we are going to get into specific cards to help counter Android 18. But real quick, we do have a word from today's video's sponsor. Yo, Dragon Ballers, real quick, I need to let you guys know about 2 events that are coming up soon, being hosted by PPG. All the info will be down in the description, but we have the Dragon Ball Super Card Game Fest from March 26th to the 27th. This is going to be the first ever event where they are trying out the sideboarded best of 1 format. Besides that, it'll just be a celebration of the Dragon Ball Super Card Game, so you're not going to want to miss it. The other one is for organized play through the Pro Play Tour. We have the regional qualifier April 2nd in Kentucky, shots to the Midwest, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that. Shout out to PPG because they run awesome tournaments, but also besides that, this is a thing I've been concerned about in the past where these tournaments just don't get enough advertisement. So shout out to PPG for doing more and putting in more work to advertise these events. I hope to see you guys there. Let's get back into the video. All right, guys, shout out to PPG. Anyways, back into the video. So now we're looking at ways to deal with Android 18's defenses. There are numerous counterplays, depending on whatever color you're playing, that can interact with Oceania Shenron or other floodgates they might be playing. So in red, for example, a really good one that's popped up lately is Vegeta Resolve Renewed. I ran 3 copies of my King Piccolo deck. I think it's a very strong card because not only can it stop Oceanus, but it also gives you coverage in the yellow matchup, stopping Robotic Riposte. That's great. Super Kamehameha, recent black staple, so pretty much no matter what black deck you're playing, you'll probably want to include this. And then again, whatever other color you're playing, there are so many of these we've talked about numerous times in the past. So yeah, you kind of have to go with you know, whatever color you're playing and what counterplays they have at their disposal. And then for a more coverall, more generic option, you have Koitsukai Mechanical Courage, which is great because not only does it prohibit them from playing Oceanus, but it also punishes them for playing their Android 18 counterplay, as well as anything else they might be doing during your turn to run some defense, right? Great thing about Koitsukai, it was recently reprinted, so it should be a much easier pickup than it was back in the day. So that's really good for stopping their defenses. Next up, we have the various counterplays you can use to interrupt their combo, right? So this is the main appeal that all the colors besides, I guess, black and red have, is that there are counterplays that can help against their combo. So blue, for example, you have Godsling Technique Trunks, which can be used in window 1 in response to Rebirth of Justice. The Frieza 5 does not have Deflect, so that's a great option there. In yellow, you have many different ways to rest the Frieza coming in. The most popular one is probably going to be Son Goku Steadfast Assistance. So as long as you're able to do that, you can either KO the Frieza on the next turn or just, you know, kill him on the crackback, whatever you have to do. Again, you have to make sure that they're not able to resolve their Baby Unison, because if they can use Golden Avenger, they're going to counter whatever counter play you're going for, right? Now, in the case of Frieza Charismatic Villain, this one is not as effective, mostly because its effect is actually tied to its auto, not its counterplay. So if Android 18 has a Unison setup, they can use Godsling Technique Trunks to essentially negate the play of Frieza, and then its auto won't go off. So if you're playing green, just either try to clear their Unison or go for Frieza on an opportunity where they don't have a Unison established or they don't have the 2+ markers. That's where you're going to want to watch out for. You do have some other interesting things in green, like Big Amor actually prevents the 5-drop Frieza from attacking. So if you wanted to spend the 2 energy, you could stop the Frieza combo in a way that they can't possibly interact with. That's kind of interesting, but yeah, I just wanted to make you guys aware of these counterplays and these different interactions for the Frieza 5-drop. Now, I did just mention that red doesn't really have a great interaction for full power Frieza like the other colors do, but there is technically an interaction in red that works, but it's not really popular, right? So when they use Rebirth of Justice in window 2, you counterplay with Yamcha Merciless Barrage. This brings full power Frieza down to 15k power. Then when they attack with the Frieza, you can follow up with Wolf Fang Fist, which again, they can counter, but if you're using the same practices of, you know, making sure that Unison isn't able to resolve the -5, you'll be okay. And the way Frieza works is its mill is a separate auto. So once Frieza leaves the board, thanks to Wolf Fang Fist bringing it to 0, it's not going to be able to mill you out. So that's kind of the interaction there. Again, Wolf Fang Fist is not very popular in red decks nowadays, but you could definitely sideboard it or main deck tech it. It's not a bad card by any means, and if you wanted to be prepared for full power Frieza 100% overdrive, this could be the way to go in red. But honestly, if you're playing red, your best option is probably just aggroing them and killing them before they pull out their combo, because you have a lot of the great interactions to stop their defenses, right? Like again, Vegeta Resolve Renewed, stopping their Oceanus. If you're playing U7 Goku, you can easily main deck Koitsukai and just main deck either Broly Crown or Vegeta Resolve Renewed. So you have lots of options there in red for more aggro based options. And I would say the same thing for black too. If you're playing black, you probably also just want to kind of get under them. The nice thing about Gogeta Xeno is you have both the True Fighting Spirits, which are going to hinder the Android 18 players from using their D-Magics, their Oceanuses, stuff like that. And then again, you have Super Kamehameha for the Oceanus and whatnot, so that's pretty good there. And then finally, just a kind of interesting tech card for red. This might not be the most realistic card because honestly, it's a very, very specific tech that would only be useful in this matchup. But you have Baby Vengeance Unleashed, which basically, because of the way it's worded and the fact that it's not once per turn, you can infinitely Union Absorb the clone tokens to just get rid of them all. So you have that option there for dealing with your opponent's strategy in red. I guess it's not totally narrow because Android 21 has been topping the past several months. So while that's also not a super popular deck, at least if you sideboarded this, you'd be prepped for Android 18 mill and Android 21 control. So that's kind of interesting. But anyways, guys, hope you got something useful out of this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Alright, now that you guys finished watching that video, they should have never banned Child's Wish. They shouldn't. Super Shadow was the best deck in the game. Super Shadow was the best!